What's up, everyone? Welcome to Lowered Expectations. Thanks for lowering your expectations and hanging out with me here. I do appreciate it. Before we get into the video, I need to clarify something. The name of the channel seems to be confusing some people. I've seen people in the comment section saying things like, there's easier ways to do that. Why didn't you just blah, blah, blah? You're an idiot. You're not safe. The name of the channel is not Lowered Expectations. It's Lowered Expectations. Thanks for lowering your expectations and hanging out with me here. I do appreciate it. Now that that's out of the way, there's another thing that I need to say, and that is that the next video in this series is going to be a Christmas special where I walk you guys through my system and show you some of the upgrades that I've done, some of the upgrades that I have planned, and how the system works. And I've currently burnt through about 600 liters of waste oil in this waste oil burner, not all of them heating my house. And so if you guys have questions or if you want to see footage of a specific thing, let me know in the comment section of this video and I will do my best to add it to the Christmas special video because I'm currently in the works of editing that. This video is going to be about actually the first time heating the house, some of the upgrades that I've done to the system, and kind of get you guys up to speed until the Christmas special, of course. So with that being said, one more thing before we get into the video, and that is that it starts as a little bit of a bummer. There's something that I had to get off my chest, and we don't need to say any more about it. Let's go. I should be answering emails or editing video or responding to people in the comment section of my videos, but I've had an interesting past few days. I'm not going to go into details, but the other day there was an incident in my alleyway and somebody ended up losing their life. Andy and I tried to resuscitate them unsuccessfully, and yeah, so it's just been a weird few days. I've decided that I'm going to try heating my house a little bit with the heat exchanger. I bought a new hose. You guys, if you're real keen, you might notice there's a yellow hose up there. Used to be a red hose. The red hose is now laying on the ground, all curled up, and I'm going to use this to run hot water into the exchanger into my bedroom. Those of you who have followed the channel may remember that before I ran a heater into my basement, that basement window is now Andy's bedroom window, and Andy's dealing with food poisoning or some sort of virus. And not only that, it just doesn't make sense now. Before, what I was doing is dumping heat into the basement and was heating the rest of the house. But now it would just make Andy's room extremely hot. So what I'm going to do, there's actually a heat return vent in my bedroom. I don't want to be cutting holes through the foundation or doing anything like that. I do want to do a bit of experimenting and maybe save a little on heating bill. So what I'm going to do is run some of that red hose into my window. I'm going to run the heater outside and we're going to pump some hot water in through my bedroom window and see if we can offset. I don't know how I'm going to close up the gap. Maybe I'll make a close it up with a piece of cardboard or something, but anyway, I think it'll be okay. We're going to have a little bit of fun. Not sure how much I'm going to film, but I figured I would film this clip, and that way if I decide to use the future footage, at least I'll have this to accompany it. I'm going to repeat that same process for the return line, but I'm not going to film it because it's freezing cold out here. It's actually quite a bit colder than freezing cold. And I just want to get this done. So I'm going to run the return line. That is the actual hot feed line. And then we can hook up the heat exchanger and get this thing fired up. This is the return line. We just got to shove it in here a few inches. Wow. Okay. Now I got to go inside and connect the heat exchanger. It's making funny noises. Wow, it's at 30 degrees already. I was just about to say that this is going to take forever. Wow. Alright folks, the water temperature is up to 60 degrees. You can't see that, 59 degrees, and I'm sure you can't see that. So I'm going to turn the fan on to the lowest setting, on setting 1, and I have to go get my heat gun to see what the temperature is currently in here and how quickly it'll warm up. All right, it's pretty safe to say it's about 18 degrees, which makes sense because that is what the thermostat is set at in the house. So now I'm going to turn on the fan. Water temperature is now up to 63 degrees, so I'm going to turn it up to setting 2, monitor everything, and set a timer for 10 minutes. It's now 10 minutes later, and although the air temperature is quite a bit warmer, I'm wondering if it will show on the walls at all, because they'll have to actually absorb the heat energy. But I can tell you for sure that the floor at my feet is now 26 Celsius. That wall, oh, okay, that wall's 22.5. That one's 21.7. And let's check the back side of this dresser. This side is 28 degrees. This is not getting blasted directly by the hot air off the fan, so this will take quite a while to warm up. But it's a good judge of how warm it actually is in the room. So we're at 20.6. Alright folks, it turns out it was way too hot in my bedroom. After 10 minutes, the temperature had gone up considerably, which I showed you guys. Very shortly after that, it was 34 degrees, which is this much Fahrenheit. And so, yeah, I turned the burner way down to try to reduce the heat. I turned the fan down. I turned the ventilation on my furnace, so I just had the air circulating to try to spread the heat out through the house. And even after doing that, it was still, the temperature was going up in my room. It was 34, 35 degrees Celsius. And so all day I debated taking PEX that I had bought previously and plumbing that into my laundry room. I didn't want to do it because I know I'm going to lose a bunch of heat just because I don't have the insulated PEX, which I can always insulate it, and I know you guys will tell me to do that. But yeah, anyway, 9:40 p.m. last night, I decided, hey, I'm going to run the PEX. And so I did that until 11 p.m. and got a bunch of it done, and then got up this morning and finished it. It's currently about 1:21. So the heater is actually still in the warm-up process, but I thought I would show you guys what I have. Keep in mind, this is definitely not finished, and the idea was to heat the garage with this, but it's currently minus 16 outside. Let's see if the temperature has changed. It was minus 16 this morning. It might have warmed up some. It's minus 14 currently, and I checked to see how frequently the heater was turning, my furnace was turning on and off, and so I'm going to do another comparison once this oil burner gets up to full operating temperature. These are the lines going into the house. We'll talk about that in a second. This is the setup. We've got an uninsulated tote with about 50 liters of water in it. And we got the burner going. Oil tank is back where it was. You guys may have noticed that I moved it over to this shelf to try to keep it warm because the oil burner was over here for a while. Everything's back over here. I've got the PEX coming in through the top. If the wood pile wasn't there, I would have just went out through the side there, but working with, yeah, this was an afterthought, very much. So, PEX coming in there. It was very stiff and hard to work with last night, but now that it's nice and warm, it's pretty flexible and easy to use. Once I get the heater warmed up, I put this metal bar across the top and it seems to trap a little bit more of the heat inside. Anyway, let's follow these lines and I'll show you where they go. Again, not ideal that they're just out here dumping heat into the atmosphere. And so they go. I drilled a hole in there. That goes underneath my deck. And I already had a broken window in here that I had boarded off in the laundry room. So I just come in through there. Not sure how well the lighting is in here. I just come in through there and I'm going in through a hole where this window is boarded off. Oh wow, it's tropical in here. 68 degrees on the inlet temperature. I've got a sensor on the inlet and one on the outlet. I can only check one at a time, but because it's an unfinished ceiling, that is the kitchen floor that we're warming up. And so, yeah, this should help. This is the lowest and least insulated room in the house, so heat from here should travel into the surrounding rooms and especially up into the kitchen. Not sure if this door will get left open to just allow the heat to go out, or if yeah, we'll just leave it go up through the floor. But it is fairly noisy. The fan isn't exactly quiet. And I know a bunch of you are gonna say, plumb this into the furnace, and that way the furnace can turn on, but that may eventually happen. But if it does happen, it's not gonna happen with pipes coming in through the window and running along the outside of the house. I'll actually bury the lines properly, insulate them, and yeah. It would also need a control system or a large tank. So I'm not sure if that will ever happen, but we'll see how this does. It is currently minus 16 degrees Celsius outside, and my heater isn't running efficiently because the heater itself is not insulated. The storage tank for the water is not insulated. None of the hoses are insulated, and I am using a box fan to strip the heat off of the heat exchanger to plumb it into my house. But earlier this morning, I checked the timing between the heater coming on and the heater coming on again. And in order to maintain 18 Celsius inside of the house, it was coming on once every half hour. And I decided to rerun that test. Yeah, so it's actually been an hour and 15 minutes and the heater hasn't come back on. It's maintaining 18 degrees Celsius inside of the house. So I'm assuming as the surrounding area absorbs heat, more of the heat will come upstairs, so it'll actually do a better job. Anyway, all this to say that the heater isn't running very efficiently. I can make a bunch of improvements on it, and at the very least just burn a little less oil. But also it is doing quite a good job. Not only, I was figuring, you know, maybe it would stop you from freezing, or maybe it will, you know, 5 extra minutes with the heater not coming on or something like that. But if you guys are interested in purchasing your very own heat exchanger, there will be affiliate links in the description below. If you live in Canada, you better be on the ball because I buy them up as soon as I see them. I just purchased an 18 by 20 unit so that I can do some diesel heater exhaust heat scavenging experiments. That was a mouthful. If you guys want a circulation pump, then there will also be a link for that in the description. If you're not sure why I'm talking about a circulation pump, watch all the way to the end of the video and you will see a little clip of that. If you guys want to support me on Patreon, links in the description. I think you guys are understanding now. A bunch of stuff down in the description below. Thanks, and let's get back to the video. It is currently 8:03 p.m. The heater's been running since 2 o'clock, I believe. I just went to buy some insulation for the pipe. I had turned the heater down. It's still at 78. So I guess I didn't turn it down a lot. 77, 78. Anyway, I wanted to monitor this. I'm going to put some pipe insulation on and see what happens. I kind of expect this to go up after some time, but it just dawned on me that I should have the tub in here. I was thinking about how to insulate it outside, but it would make a whole lot more sense if I just put that tub down here, probably by that drain, just in case I get a leak. But yeah, I can simply get a big tote, 100-liter tote, put a cover on it so I'm not getting a whole lot of evaporation, and simply run it inside. Well, I've got two things to report. First off, the heater is turned on. It is just after 8 p.m. I believe the last time it was on was 2, just a little after 2. And the temperature has gone up 4 degrees Celsius just by putting the insulation on. And I don't have it all on yet. I still have 2 pieces to go. I've learned. All right. I can't remember the details of the last update that I gave you guys, so I thought I would give you a little bit of one now. I have the thermostat in my house set to 18 degrees Celsius, and the heater seems to be able to maintain that as long as the outside temperature doesn't drop below, say, minus 14 or 15. If it drops below that, the furnace will kick on, but a lot less frequently, and it turns off more quickly. That being said, because the waste oil burner or the exchanger in the basement doesn't circulate heat all around the house, my room and one of the other bedrooms does get quite cold, and there's a few rooms that get quite hot because they're exposed to the heat from the heat exchanger. While trying to move the tote into the house, I learned something very important about RV antifreeze, and that is that it freezes. It just doesn't expand enough that it breaks your lines. RV antifreeze will actually gel in cold. It just doesn't expand enough so that it damages equipment or breaks your lines. And so I spent a whole day struggling with RV antifreeze, and now I have something else in my system. I don't think I mentioned this in a previous video. I did get a peristaltic pump, and I can turn the flow up and down using a knob here. And that might seem like it's wonderful and that you would just set that and then forget about it. The flow changes quite drastically between cold oil and warm oil, and so it is something that needs to be monitored. I was just using one of these bars, and now I've got two of them, and basically I keep covering the outlet until it starts smothering the fire. I start noticing some funny noises, and then I go back a little bit and leave it, and right now it is working really well. So we're going to leave it like that and keep monitoring temperatures and keep burning on. It's now an hour and 20 minutes later, and the temperature is climbing, 86, 87. I'm gonna have to do something about this. First thing I'm gonna do is go remove those bars from the top. We're gonna see how much this drops. So I'll come back in about an hour. I went out to check on the heater and remove the plate from the top of it, and found a mouse. So here's a clip of that. Yes, I know it's a bad idea to be feeding mouse, but I have a soft heart. So yeah. Anyway, as you guys can see, the temperature has dropped 81, 82 degrees just by removing those two plates. So just to confirm that this isn't something else that's happening, I'm gonna go now and put those two plates back on, and we'll see if it reverses and the temperature goes back up. Okay, half an hour has passed. I set a timer for an hour, but I'm not gonna let it go to the full hour, because if I do, we're gonna have a problem. So I'm gonna go outside and take that bar off before we have a boiling situation, because that's not ideal. Originally, my idea was to put a pipe in the center and to insulate the outside of it. But I tried putting the pipe in and it smothered it down. It didn't have enough exhaust flow. So that idea is out the window. I'm thinking now, in order to make it more efficient, what I could do is completely cover the top off. So weld a plate back over the top, and then basically cut vertical slits in the side of this. So probably inch wide slits that go all the way down to the bottom, little windows, and put a bunch of those so that the hot gases actually pass out through the coil. That should work quite well. This is basically what I had in mind. I didn't really know how many slots I was going to put in it, and I don't think I intended them to go down that far, but I don't think that's going to make much difference. This hopefully gives plenty of room for gases to escape. So I'm going to do something temporarily just to plug this hole in the top during operation, and yeah, make sure that it works okay, and then we'll kind of I'll collect a little bit of data. I have a marking on the oil pump where I set my oil feed to that delivers about 1.3 liters per hour, and at that oil output, my water stays at a reasonable temperature. So if we notice a spike in temperature, that's because this has become more efficient. So let's go hook it up and test it, and we'll see what happens. Well, it worked better than I wanted. I melted my hose. Damn it. Well, To say this was careless is a bit of an understatement. I haven't been feeling well and I rushed this, and then I didn't monitor it. And not only did I completely melt the hose off here, we had a blowout and we had antifreeze spewing out there, but this was actually touching against the side of the heater. Extremely careless. So it wasn't getting hot. I came out and gave it some more fuel, and it got hot really quick, and then I went to have something to eat. When I was finished eating, I went downstairs to check on the heater and the exchanger temperature, and it had dropped to 50, which I thought was odd. I came outside to see what was going on, and well, we had coolant spewing out the top of this. So I'm gonna have to figure out, for starters, a better hose. I was thinking about that already. I was gonna go to a hose shop here and see what I could get for something that would handle more temperature. And yeah, looks like that's gonna happen now. And also I need to probably make some sort of shield around here. Now that I'm capping the top off, we probably got quite a bit more heat coming out through here. I feel like it's worth saying that this must have boiled for quite some time, because I've had it boiling before and basically just threw some ice on the side of the barrel to cool it off a bit, or put a little ice on this pipe so that the inlet temperature would drop. Yeah, this got hot enough for long enough that it actually melted the inside of the hose and then pushed it and plugged the hose with the rubber that had melted. And once it had plugged, it then built pressure and blew up here. I just spent $180 on silicone heater hose. This will be able to stand up to the temperature and pressures, and so I'm going to install that. I'm also going to weld this piece back in place. It was the piece that originally got cut out of this lid. I'm not going to weld it to the lid because then I wouldn't be able to remove it. I'm going to weld it to the tank here, the lower tank. That will stop the hot air from blowing out directly at the hose and pipe. And not only will it make it more efficient, but it will stop it from overheating the hose. Although I'm not really worried about it now I've got the silicone hose, but we'll do this anyway. What I just realized right now is that I changed the power steering pump on Megan's truck just a couple of months ago, month and a half ago, and I still have the old power steering pump. Now, it has a little bit of a leak in it, which is why we changed it, but otherwise it works perfectly fine. Are you guys thinking what I'm thinking? It turns out the inside thread on this piece is metric. I looked through every bolt bin in my shop and I was able to find one metric bolt that was matching. You can see I've had this in the lathe once already for something. Don't know what I was going to use it for. But just like then, I've decided not to do this. I was going to bore out the center of this and thread it for basically a pipe thread so that I could fit this size pipe thread in it. Then I thought to myself, that sounds a whole lot harder than just welding this pipe thread bushing in there. So what I'm actually going to do is put this in my lathe, remove those threads, put this in there, weld it in, and then I'll have pipe threads that I can put a barb fitting into. That'll be way easier. Let's see how long it takes to fill up this container. All right, don't know how long that took, but it's quicker than the other way, pouring it, especially when it's cold. You guys remember how I said that I spent a phenomenal amount of money on silicone hose so that I wouldn't have to worry about temperature and pressure? Well, shortly after starting the test of the system again, my pump failed. I had a submersible pump. Surprise, surprise, it failed. And well, silicone hose is not invincible. It's just very good. So I've now ordered a new circulation pump, and we are going to do some major upgrades on this system. More on that in the Christmas special and a little further in this video. I have quite the mess here. And I don't think I've showed any of this to you guys. I've just been busy working away at it myself. I don't think you guys have even seen the blue bins, but I picked up a couple of these and I'm going to end up getting one more. I already had this mixing valve from a previous project, but I had to buy this circulation pump because I killed the submersible pump that I had for this project originally. So what I've got going on here, I'm actually getting another one of these, as I said. So I'm going to have 400 liters basically as backup storage, and then the main storage tank, which is going to be 200 liters. So basically I'm going to be recirculating the water through the 200 liter tank. That's going to go into here and then to the pump and then out of here back to the heater. However, I don't want to be heating this other 400 liters of water because it would take forever to get up warm enough that I could actually use the heat. So what this is going to do is make it so that I can crank the temperature up to 120 Fahrenheit, and once it gets to 120 Fahrenheit at the outlet here, it will start allowing water in from the 400 liters of extra storage. So while the heater is running up, it's still going to take a lot longer to warm up because I was using about 100 liters and now I'm using 200. So it's going to take about twice as long. Earlier in the video, I pointed out that there are affiliate links in the description below for the circulation pump and heat exchangers. I just wanted to point out here that I purchased these with my own money. I do get a kickback if you guys purchase them through my link, but I purchased them with my own money because I think they're a great value. Do some shopping around and see for yourself. The price on the heat exchangers is phenomenal, and the price on the circulation pumps is as good or better than anywhere else that I've found. So again, links in the description below. That just about does it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Remember to leave your questions in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to give you a shout out and answer those questions in the Christmas special, which will be coming out on Christmas. Before we end the video, I do have a favor to ask of you guys, and there's going to be a bit of a spoiler alert here, so I hope you're not too upset about it. I've been using a meat thermometer with 4 probes on it to monitor the system, the temperature of the system. It has a Bluetooth app. I can look at my phone and see what everything's doing. The problem is, like a big dumb idiot, I went and installed K-type thermocouples in the system to get more accurate readings. And so they're already installed in the system, and wouldn't you know it, the meat thermometer does not have K-type thermocouples, so I can't get them to work. So what I need is some way to monitor K-type thermocouples on my phone through Wi-Fi or through Bluetooth. If you know of some way that I can do that, please let me know. If it's something that's not too expensive, that would be even better. I've been looking around for a little bit and I thought I would ask your guys' help. I guess that just about does it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on Christmas. Take care. All of this chaos to keep my burner going. This is a bit of a monumental moment. I just poured out my last 20 liters. I started in October with 600 liters of oil, and I just poured out my last 20 liter pail, 19 liter pail, whatever. and filtered it into this bucket, which means I've got about, let's see, let's count them off. We've got 2, 4, 6, 24 liters over there, and then another approximately 20 liters here. So I've got just a little over 24 hours of oil. So this time tomorrow, I will have none left.